Well, I did come back to the model table last night. And I did experiment around a little bit with our solder paste. And it did not go well. But it was my fault. And I did not notice that this little railing that I was trying to glue on my pretend deck here, or solder onto the pretend deck, was not actually, well, if you want to see how it went, you're going to have to, watch it. I'm going to redo this. I know what I did wrong, but I couldn't tell from my perspective that this railing was not pressed down on the deck, and consequently it wasn't getting soldered. Now you can watch it if you want, or if you don't want to be bothered watching a bunch of tomfoolery, you can just forget about it. Anyway, now, on the bright side, I did order a bird feeder and some bird feed from Amazon this morning. Probably be here the day after tomorrow, Wednesday. And my plan is to try and hang it from a place. It's a hanging feeder, as you can see from the picture that I'm going to stick up there. I'm going to try and hang it in such a place that I can put our bird feeder cam somewhere on the house here. Anyway, we'll worry about that when we get to it. Now, about the CA Extra Thin. Now, you'll remember that our friend Steve from the Model Shed, he was using a particular brand, which I found out is basically only available in the UK. At least I think it is. But I found something that I feel is similar here in Canada. And we've ordered from these guys before. That's where the Iwata airbrush cleaner and what was it? The Mr. Color leveling fluid, and I think some paints. I'm just going to go through all my paints over there and see what I need, because if I can get the order up around just over $60, they say there's free shipping. So I've got no problem with free. So we'll just look into that a little later. Anyway, let's roll the clock back to last night, and you want to watch it. If not, just scrub ahead to the time shown that's at the bottom of your screen right now. What I have here this evening is a piece of railing from Tony's kit. In fact, it's the piece of railing that we had annealed a few days ago. I'm pretty sure that it is probably fairly free from grease and so on. And this is just a corner of one of the frets from the photo etch, and I'm just going to use that as a pretend, you might say, let's say it was a platform that we wanted to solder a railing onto. And I have tried to contour, or rather round over, the corner here at approximately the same radius as the corner of that fret. And the idea is that I'm going to place it on here and try and solder it. And I'm using something really small like this because I don't need to practice with big stuff. I've been able to solder big stuff ever since I was probably 13, 14 years old. So I'm going to put it in the helping hands here so that I don't burn my fingers. And then we'll get the soldering iron cranked up. And I still haven't decided yet how am I going to apply this. I know there's different ways that you can do it. You can use a little brush or you can use a toothpick, but I have not yet squeezed this to see what is the viscosity of the stuff that's going to come out of here. Is it going to be runny, or is it going to be, just how is it? So I'll put the macro lens on so we'll all see it together at the same time, and then we can see how it goes from there. Now, earlier this afternoon when I was uploading episode 900, it had actually uploaded and YouTube had processed it, but it wasn't time to publish yet. But it was almost time, but when it's at that point, I can watch it myself, even though nobody else can. So I was watching it, and I was probably about 5 minutes into it, or maybe not even, and I fell asleep. And I thought, Ron, and you think you're going to be doing soldering tonight? Anyway, okay, now there's a couple of different ways I can do this. I can either apply the solder paste to the bottom of the rail somewhere, or I can sort of maybe dab it along the edge where I think it's going to go. Well, it's pretty obvious where it's going to go. I don't have to think too hard. So let's just put this down here in a nice safe place. And now I have not tried this. I don't know how it's going to come out. I don't know if it's going to make a big mess. My hope is to just put little tiny minute amounts on. And I'm squeezing. I don't see any coming yet. Maybe what I should do is do this off camera just to get it started. It could just all of a sudden squirt and go all over everything. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to press the stop button and get this started. Okay, it kind of did do what I thought it might do. It just, all of a sudden, a whole bunch pooped out. I hope it's okay to say poop on YouTube. If I say it quietly, their computer won't hear me. Now that's probably more than I needed. And I don't think it needs to be all over the place either. Just try and get a tiny bit. There it comes. Okay, that's probably more than enough, actually. Now, New York Jason was saying apply the heat from the bottom, so that's what we're going to do. I don't think I need to put any more on. I think it'll probably sort of run. You know how solder goes. But that works pretty good. I like this stuff. Okay. Now I can quite well imagine it's going to sort of stick in there. It's not going to want to go anywhere. And we should be able to just micro adjust it right up to the edge, I would think. Oh, that's a little bit too close this way. Sorry to be getting my big fingers in there. Oops. All right, start again. Maybe we won't worry about getting it right up to the edge. Let's leave it there. Okay, I'll get the iron adjusted and then we'll be back. Okay, I've moved our light in a little closer. The iron is turned up all the way to 400 degrees Celsius. And I don't think there's any solder on the tip. So we should just put it underneath there and watch what happens. Okay, I can see right now that I've got way too much solder. I'm going to come in from the back here kind of and try and get underneath the other side. Oh, there it goes. At least I could see it. Yeah, it's kind of flowing, isn't it? I can imagine. Let's just see what happens if I come in from the back with the tip. That actually works better. That works better. Oop, I almost knocked it off. Yeah, that works a lot better. Okay, now, can I feather it out the other way? Maybe I don't have enough. Let's just see if we can put a tiny little bit on there. Tiny little bit doesn't want to come out here. Maybe I better put the soldering iron down. I was going to say we'll let that cure, but yeah. Okay, well, we'll clean that up and take a close look at it. Well, I'm going to do it again, and here's why. After I got through with what you saw there, I put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, and then I rinsed it off with water, and then when I was taking and blowing it off with the syringe, air syringe, I noticed that it's loose. Now that should not be. Okay, so clearly something with this piece of photo etch that I made as a deck was not clean. It must have had some sort of grease on it. At least that's what I'm thinking. So I'm pretty sure now that the grease has been removed, and I'm just gonna do it again. I'm gonna reheat it. I might put a little bit more solder paste right there where I'm touching, and maybe a little bit in the back there. But I don't think we need any on the curve, because obviously right here on the front, you can see it's pretty well fixed. Whoops. I don't want to hear any whoopses. One nice thing about this annealed metal, it pretty much stays where you know what? Maybe I should be using the holder downer on the end there. Maybe I can use the holder downer without anything on it. Let's see what happens here. There. Okay, we're set at about 370 degrees Celsius, and I'm just going to touch it with the tip. Don't know if it's my imagination or if it's not acting right. It's not acting like it's sort of. Now you can't see the back. I can. Now it's connecting, right? But not from the front. The front does not look right. It looks kind of... Okay, we'll let that solidify and see what happens. Well, I know you can't see the clock, but it's about 19 minutes after 8. Oh, no, look. What did I do wrong there? Maybe... Well, it seems that where the holder Dharma was holding it against the deck, you might say. It's really on there. You know, there's the possibility that the rail was not touching. That's a possibility. I'm gonna have to do another experiment with this stuff. Let's see if I can pull that off. That's on there pretty hard. In fact, that's on there really hard. I'll probably end up cutting my fingers if I try to pull it off, so I'm not going to try. Okay, we'll see you in the morning. Okay, we are back to morning. Okay, I've done the best I could to straighten the railing out here after I was pulling at it and got it all bent out of shape. And obviously it's fastened right here, and I've got this as a heat sink so that when I try to resolder, we're not going to have this let go. At least I hope it won't. Now, what would be ideal is if we could take Tony's little clamps here and use them, but you can imagine what's going to happen to this plastic once the heat gets to it. I think a person could probably make up something like this, little clamps out of metal. I can envision how I could do it. I just don't feel like doing it. And what I'm thinking of doing then is, where's my other tweezers? Okay, so what I'm going to try to do maybe is just hold it down somehow like this, and then come at it from the back. And I'm just going to use the solder that's there now. I'm not going to add any more. I'm sort of wondering, should I be maybe adding a little bit of flux to it? But anyway, let's just see what happens here. I'll get this thing plugged in and give it a whirl. Okay, we're set at 380 degrees Celsius. Let's just try it right here first. All right, now I imagine that the smart thing to do, I should have maybe started back here. I don't want to squeeze this too hard. Okay, now what about out at the end here? Yeah, that's clearly where I was going wrong last night. I was the railing wasn't on the deck. I was not playing with the full deck. Oops. Maybe I'm probably going to block your vision here. Oh, it's stuck in there. Okay, I think we've messed around here enough. This has not been a very good experiment. This solder paste does work. It does seem to work really well. I just was not using it right. I'll know for next time. Now yesterday, at least I think it was yesterday, we got this piece here, D35. And today, let's get our ladders. Number 23 and number 36. No, 38. Obviously, they're not the same. They're not symmetrical. I guess we'll find out why when we come to put them on the side of the tripod. Okay, I have already cut these three here. So we just have the three on the other side now. There we go. Now, just in case, there are very subtle differences between the B23 and the D38. I think we're probably smart to label them here. Okay, now for our D38. And once again, I've done the three tabs that are closest to you. I've learned the hard way to go really slow when removing stuff like this off of the sticky backing tape. Now you know what it is that they say killed the cat. It was curiosity. Well, I'm curious here. What is the difference between the 23 and the 38? Well, it looks like maybe one rung? Yeah, it looks like the 38 is one rung longer than the 23. Okay, well, I didn't need to worry. I'm not a cat. Okay, obviously these get mounted on the sides of the tripod legs. And I am thinking that in all likelihood here, careful where I grab this now, in all likelihood, the best way to mount these ladders would be if I could sort of lay them on the side here, and that means we're going to be wanting to try and carefully mount this somehow in the helping hands here. I'm going to think about this for a minute here. There is so much that can be damaged now. Okay, I'm hoping I got the angle right so that you can see that there is a little opening in the deck, in the platform, where the ladder, I don't think the ladder is actually supposed to come up through that, but it should line up so that it's believable, so that if somebody was climbing up the ladder would line up with this opening here. There. Anybody else would have done a retake, right? All right. So I would, I don't think it needs to stick up through there. It's not clear on the instructions. So I would think so long as the bottom of the ladder started out, where it would be on the deck, it makes sense to me that that's the way it would be. That the bottom rung would only be like a foot off of the deck, so that means that you'd have the stringer part of the ladder right down at the bottom. And anyway, nobody's going to notice even if it's not right? Well, today is Monday. I'm going to be getting a coffee visitor later this afternoon. I'm thinking maybe I should cut this episode off. And is anybody interested besides me to see how well is this camera going to focus on something close up, like say the coffee cup, or is it going to be all blurred out? In the comments below, if you'd like to see it, then I'll put it in tomorrow's episode. If not, well, say that too. No, don't say that, because I want to see how it looks. Okay, anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.